Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Lisa Mattivi, the Managing Director for IBM's Public Sector Business here in California, and I'd like to welcome you to this CalCloud update that we're very proud to be presenting today in partnership with the State of California. IBM is happy to be hosting this webcast with the State of California Department of Technology because CalCloud infrastructure has changed a lot over the last year, and we are excited to highlight those changes here with you today. We have a series of speakers who will be joining us. First will be Chris Cruz, the Chief Deputy Director of Operations for the California Department of Technology. He will overview the state's CalCloud direction and how CalCloud infrastructure fits into that. And then Cal Probilski and Carol Holloman from IBM will overview the changes that CalCloud infrastructure has taken over the last year, its enhancements and its improvements in services and capabilities for you. And then we'll have a guest from your Department of Food and Agriculture who will talk about their experiences with CalCloud. At the end of this time, I will open for a Q&A period. You can submit questions via a pop-up during the presentations, and they will be routed to the speakers. We'll answer as many of them as possible at the end of this session, and for those that we don't get to, we'll be sure to send you out an email with an answer to your question. So right now, it's a very exciting time for CalCloud infrastructure. We're very happy to have you here today, and I'd like to turn it over to Chris Cruz to take us through the direction for the state for CalCloud. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Cruz. I'm the Chief Deputy Director of Operations at the California Department of Technology. And I'm here to really talk about our CalCloud strategy here in California. And one of the things that I wanted to really discuss was our roadmap of how we're laying out technology and how we're laying out CalCloud. When we first started the CalCloud effort back in August of 2014, we took a tactical approach to rolling out CalCloud, which is obviously our infrastructure as a service with IBM. Since then, we've re-strategized, and now we're taking more of a strategic approach with CalCloud that looks at adoption first and laying out the people and process to make sure that we implement successful technology. And so the slide that you have in front of you really speaks to that, but this is our whole CalCloud strategy, starting with our technology roadmap. And really what we wanted to build is establish a communications framework with our existing customer base. We wanted to basically enhance our existing cloud services. We wanted to implement new cloud services and really create a roadmap that tracks and monitors new enhanced services. So one of the things that we do here at the Department of Technology, we really believe what gets measured gets managed. And so we wanted to take more of a strategic approach on how we manage this new CalCloud effort. One of the other areas that we're looking at as well is establishing measurable analytics. So that's really part of our technology roadmap. We've come up with a structured project management plan with CalCloud now, and in terms of how we're moving forward to sell our services to our state clients here in state government, our local government clients at the county and city level, and even municipalities and educational institutions. So we think we have the right approach. So part of the strategy also includes a mission and vision with obvious goals. And so our mission really is to offer cost-effective cloud solutions that will provide customers convenient, on-demand access to shared pool of configurable resources. And we think that really when you can provision services and provision servers on the fly, that you're going to cut down time to actually implement applications and move them into production. So there's viable advantages to our CalCloud infrastructure as a service. The vision really was to be a catalyst for merging new and adopted technologies and delivery models by delivering efficient and flexible and secure cloud services to all of our customers. So, we take this pretty seriously that we have a vision to manage with, and we have expectations in place to be able to do that. So how do we communicate that within government? So we have a number of governance committees that we have and communications frameworks that we bounce and make decisions with. Our first is our Department of Technology Director, led by our State CIO, Carlos Ramos. He and I are part of our governance framework and structure for CalCloud. We also have a statewide operations and executive leadership organization that includes all of our agency information officers and the 8 to 9 agencies that we have here in California. So given the scope and the size of our effort, it's a pretty large enterprise capability to roll out enterprise projects in the state. So it's important to have a framework in which to articulate effective communications. And last but not least, we have a CalCloud project team. And that project team is consisted of our business development people, our account leads, our project manager and project director, and our technical people along with IBM. to assure that we're making the right decisions moving forward and we're prioritizing based on customer need. Our adoption strategy really is to look at ways that we can optimize cloud technologies. One of the other areas, in addition to our infrastructure as a service that we're rolling out, is we're rolling out a new service called our vendor-hosted subscription services. And this is really for software as a service and platform. We really think our CalCloud strategy, we could be more of a hybrid cloud, given that that's what the industry demands, that we provide lots of different services for our customers to bring business value. So Department of Technology is really looking at brokering services as well to ensure that we're rolling up standardization of enterprise hardware and software at the state level in which we govern. So very important in terms of our adoption strategy. Customer benefits that we obviously see with CalCloud, there's a lower cost model, there's rapid availability for the things that we're able to do, and folks are able to provision services quickly. There's secure hosting. One of the things that we have right now with CalCloud and our infrastructure as a service provider provision services, we're now adhering to the framework of FedRAMP compliance and certification. So we plan to take that a step further and become the first state that qualifies under the FedRAMP certification and compliance process. So we're taking those necessary steps right now to ensure that we have the most reinforced and enhanced levels of security that can be provided or provisioned. Also, too, we're looking at multiple service offerings, as I talked about, technology recovery. We provide DR and backup recovery services. For the state, and how we want to leverage this is there's really no capital expenditures. So the state already has dollars within their own line item each year that go to the data center. So we're trying to leverage those available dollars that are out there for extensive use of cloud solutions. And obviously improve flexibility of pricing. And if we can streamline our procurement process and roll up everything to an enterprise perspective, we're going to be able to negotiate better rates with our vendors and keep costs down, which is very important. Part of this job, too, that's really huge is the people component, as I mentioned earlier. People and process implement and result in positive technology. And so we're working hard on the organizational change management piece to educate our people here at the department, at the data center in which we run and have operations expertise for, to make sure that they understand this new line of business and the direction that we're heading, so they can support basically our vision moving forward. And making sure that we have the right processes in place, that we have standardization, that we have documentation, that we have the right kinds of training in place to give people the understanding of what CalCloud is, what the infrastructure as a service provides, what are the benefits, and how easy is it to integrate and get hooked up into CalCloud with your own services and systems. So very important part that you have the organizational change management component. As mentioned, our beneficiaries, the governor's office is working with us on this, our systems, the agency information officers and CIOs in the state. We're working with department directors. We're going to be meeting with agency secretaries from all the departments throughout the state and to ensure that they understand the benefits of CalCloud and what they need to do to invoke our Cloud First policy. And our Cloud First policy basically reads that any new technology, that you must look at our cloud service first with infrastructure as a service before you entertain other options. So having that policy in place will help us drive adoption throughout the state and ensure that departments and agencies are doing the right thing and being efficient and effective by utilizing CalCloud services. The other folks, as I mentioned, is local governments, the counties and cities, the universities and community colleges, and then really IT staff and projects. We have to educate our infrastructure staff throughout the state and our other departments of these changes so they understand the benefits and efficiencies of what we're trying to do here for the state. So really, again, CalCloud is a roll-up of services. We want to be a hybrid CalCloud provider, and that includes, obviously, infrastructure as a service that we have, platform as a service. We're also going to we offer email as a service as well with Microsoft. We're looking at adding Office 365 here into the future and signing an enterprise agreement with Microsoft. Our existing services are Salesforce with CRM. In the vendor-hosted space, we have Clarity, which is a portfolio and project management tool. We have Remedy on Demand, and obviously our lines of business also cover disaster recovery and storage. We're a Tier 3 qualified data center, so moving data to on-premise here and securing it makes the most sense for the state. And this is really the direction that we wanted to lay out for CalCloud. And finally, the goals of what we're looking for is drive customer adoption of CalCloud through our new workload and business opportunities. And that really encompasses our CalCloud strategy and governance and really the processes that we have in place now to enable a successful cloud implementation here in the state. now I'll go ahead and turn this over to Kyle Pavelski from IBM. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. That was great. My name is Kyle Pavelski. I'm the IBM Cloud Solution Executive for CalCloud here in California. I really appreciate you taking some time to join us to learn a little bit more about the latest iteration of CalCloud. As you just heard from Chris, I think this is really one of the most exciting times for technology evolution, especially in California. And I think one of the coolest facts there is that CalCloud is really leading that charge. So what I wanted to do today is first look at what makes a good CalCloud opportunity, then go over the currently supported OS levels, some of the higher order functions, and then really dive into the CalCloud service offerings. So where I'm going to start here is around what makes a good CalCloud opportunity. With the latest iteration of CalCloud, you now have a full cloud platform framework. What that allows for is the greatest amount of flexibility in utilizing cloud to help drive consolidation and virtualization initiatives, or move off down level or rapidly going out of support software like Windows 03, for example. It can provide an opportunity to take an older Solaris box, right, and move it onto an AIX platform, consolidating that environment, freeing up valuable resources so that you can take those resources and redirect them into other new and more innovative projects and initiatives. A few other key points here are that CalCloud takes the normal benefits of cloud computing and really turns them up a notch. CalCloud is an enterprise-grade cloud. It offers one of the best compute environments across industry, and it's easily capable of running your most network-intensive or mission-critical applications. So when you go behind the curtain of CalCloud, what you get are some of the fastest, most powerful storage arrays, right? So that when you look at running maybe more inconsistent or I/O-intensive applications, right, you can be comfortable knowing that you have the horsepower behind that, right, so that those applications and workloads never miss a beat. So what does CalCloud offer beyond that normal cloud doesn't? The first thing is that it offers a very robust security framework, right? FISMA moderate for highly secure applications. It was built to adhere to FedRAMP. It's NIST 800-53. It's HIPAA, IRS 1075 Rev 4. And for those of you that process credit card transactions, it's PCI DSS, which takes a huge burden, right, off of an agency or a municipality or a county that processes credit card transactions. As I mentioned a second ago, it's great for network-intensive applications. And the last piece I really want to highlight here is that it's California-only data residency, right? You will know exactly where your application exists, exactly where your redundant servers would be, right, for backup or IDR. And it's secured and managed up to and including the OS if that's something that you would choose to select. So now that we've taken a brief look at what makes a good CalCloud opportunity, let's go ahead and move on here to the next slide. And let's take a quick look at the currently supported OS in higher order functions that exist within CalCloud. The first is Red Hat. The Red Hat virtual server, right, version 6 and above are currently supported OS. Within Windows, your Windows server is going to be version 2008 and above. Your AIX server is going to be the P7 plus chipset with Power VM. From a higher order function standpoint, your backup still has 2 tiers. It's replicated down to Vacaville. Your tier 1 is a 1-hour RPO. Your tier 2 is a daily incremental and weekly full. Your infrastructure DR also offers 2 tiers of DR. It's an oversubscribed and reserved model, again provided at the Vacaville site. Your tier 1, 1-hour RPO and RTO, and your tier 2 is a 24-hour RPO and 96-hour RTO. We have additional storage options, and we're going to dive into those here as we start to look now at the CalCloud service offerings. So why don't we go ahead and shift gears and go on to the next slide so that we can dive in to all those new CalCloud service offerings. The first thing that we've done with this new iteration of CalCloud is, if you recall, it used to be a 1 CCU, which is a CalCloud compute unit, right, to 1 gigahertz of processing power. That provided, I think, some challenges around being able to accurately size an instance, right? So we made a change so that now it's 1 CalCloud compute unit to a 2 gigahertz processing, which makes it really extremely easy to properly size an instance so that you're really driving that utility out of cloud and not paying for a single thing more than you need to. When CalCloud was initially stood up back in July of 2014, the minimal viable product offering was built around a managed server, right? So that was a server that was managed all the way up to and through the OS, right? So that included the security, patching, and monitoring of the OS. And I think for some of your more dedicated and intensive applications, that managed server offering was a great option and remains a great option today. What we've added, though, are 2 different levels of unmanaged servers, right, giving you the most ability to manage your own applications, right? So the first one is an unmanaged server. It comes with the license, right, or OS of your choice, so the Red Hat, Windows, or AIX server. The license is provided and managed by CalCloud, and it's good for a wide range of uses, right, from hosting to development to production. Next, we offered an unmanaged, no license. So it's really a bring your own license model, but it's also really good if you are running a down level or even up level version that's not supported currently by CalCloud. So you're able to select one of the supported OSs and then move off of that and onto your down level or up level version, so that you can go ahead and either remediate off of that onto a currently supported or run what you need to run so that your application performs in the best possible way. Again, that unmanaged without license is great for a wide range of uses, from hosting software to your dev to production. The next feature that's been added is VPN, right? Really the key point here is for a client that's looking for a more secure connection, so that you have that ability to run through a tunnel into the environment that's now available. File transfer has been added for Linux. It previously did exist, but now it's available for all of the supported OSs, right? So that allows really for now clients to be able to transfer from one host to another host over the network it's built on the CalCloud client server architecture. So that now allows you to go ahead and transition your tools in and other files right into the new OS environment. One of the other most recently added features is Oracle database. So you can now move your Oracle DB workloads into CalCloud, and that's licensed for the full CalCloud environment. So as I transition here over, I think one of the most exciting additions that we've made here is around the storage platform for CalCloud, right? Within a cloud environment, especially, the most important thing, right, that your application needs is access to storage and database. So here, we had the existing Tier 1 storage, right, 15 millisecond response time, super high performance storage, super fast, mission critical workloads, great for inconsistent or demanding I/O performance, right? Never going to miss a beat there with the Tier 1 storage. Tier 2 storage, which is brand new, is going to offer 20 millisecond response time SLA. It provides support for a wide range of workloads, right? Most common are going to be your mid-range workload, but to give you a perfect example, you need to store email, right? Great place there in your Tier 2 storage now available. Tier 3 storage, right? That's always been available. It's 100 millisecond response time. Great for archive, cold, infrequently used storage. The one thing that I do want to point out here is that backup and IDR are not yet available for Tier 3 storage. That is a roadmap item. You'll see it coming soon in the next in the next iteration here around CalCloud. But again, is a very valuable tool to have, right? So that you have the most flexibility in your storage solutioning based on your application architecture needs. Next, we have added external storage. So now you can access and take advantage, right, of the cost savings within CalCloud without having to have a CalCloud server. So the two distinct types of external storage that we're offering within CalCloud now is an external fiber to internal SAN, right? So that would be for a workload where you already have a server that exists within the OTEC data center, and you want to take advantage of the CalCloud storage offering, right? So again, available without a CalCloud server. It's provided for servers within the OTEC data center, and you have full access to all tiers of storage there. So you can imagine it again creates a great deal of flexibility in how you start to re-architect your environment as you move into to a cloud model, especially, but within CalCloud. Next is a NAS offering, right, for external storage. NAS is going to be available exclusively for remote access, right? And it will not have availability for Tier 1, mainly because NAS is going to run that Tier 3 storage platform is really going to be available probably around 100 millisecond response time. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense as you're accessing from a long distance to have Tier 1 in there. It just won't perform the way that it was meant to. So it's going to be exclusively there to support Tiers 2 and 3. We're going to have two separate offerings there. One, block-level protocol, which will be done via iSCSI, and the second will be file-level protocols via NSF and CIFS. So I think, as you can see, this latest iteration of CalCloud increases not only the level of services and offerings available, but it now really delivers on that promise for a full cloud platform framework, allowing the greatest amount of flexibility as you transition to cloud. So with that, I want to go ahead and thank you for your time this morning again. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over now to Hence Phillips and Rob Schmidt from the California Department of Food and Ag to tell you a little bit more about their direct experience with CalCloud.
Thank you, Kyle. As you can see on your screen, I am Hence Phillips, Application Development Manager from the California Department of Food and Agriculture. I'd like to talk with you a little bit about the great success that we've been having so far in using CalCloud. Our department began to migrate apps in January of this year, and part of the secret to our success has been that we did it so on a leisurely basis, sort of hobbying at it. We were able to start with our smaller applications and fully test them and then begin to move into systems that had more dependencies, making sure to move SQL servers along with web servers and any web services or so on that may be dependent. We found that our performance has been increased approximately 3 times speed-wise because of the power of the CalCloud. Our development team has begun to somewhat function as a DevOps unit in that things that had been requiring our infrastructure team to implement now can be done very quickly by our development team. We also have noticed that our ability to start small and have a leisurely pace has enabled us to gradually train more development staff to become comfortable with the CalCloud. And a snowball effect has started to take place that as we develop our CalCloud capabilities, we have gained more and more success through adding an app here and an app there to the point where we now have approximately 70 applications running on CalCloud, which comprise roughly half of the systems that we have here at Cdfa. Another thing that we really appreciate about CalCloud is that a huge burden has sort of been removed from us in that security is taken to another level. Backup, purchasing, storage, and equipment requirements are sort of taken out of our hands now and handled at the statewide level. And as I said before, the migration has really been pretty easy and done in-house, as much of our development is. And to summarize, the thing that we also love the best about the CalCloud is that as a state agency, we are subject to audits, and the security that we have gained by moving to a Tier 3 system such as CalCloud has allowed us to be fully compliant with many of the things that we are expected to be compliant with as a state entity. So that is my part of the presentation for now, and I would like to turn the...
Hello, everyone. My name is Carol Holloman. I am a Services Solution Executive with IBM and a CalCloud evangelist. Today I will share with you the significant changes in pricing that are part of the new announcements. These were done to address market pricing pressures and to ensure that CalCloud infrastructure services provide all of the right incentives to move to cloud. The price drop was indeed significant. Under the new pricing, for example, you pay between $296 and $370 per month for a small Windows server, as seen in this slide. This is a 46% drop from the original price of $680 for a managed server. And as Kyle has mentioned, this is for twice the computing power offered previously. As you can see, the pricing provides server size and operating system options with full transparency. It is important to understand that what you see is what you pay. By this I mean that there are no hidden or surprise charges such as paying for outbound data transfer across the connection you establish with CalCloud. Essentially, you pay for server images, maybe some additional memory and storage as you need it, and some optional services, such as backup or disaster recovery. That's it. Moving to the next slide. This second slide continues to illustrate the new pricing available. As with the Intel platforms, CalCloud offers very attractively priced AIX virtual image options that are both managed and unmanaged. And we are the only multi-tenant cloud service that offers AIX as an option. I also list here the pricing for the 3 tiers of storage, for backup services, for additional memory, and for 2 new additional services that clients have requested, VPN support and file transfer. For a full price list, including disaster recovery options, please see the CalCloud Service Catalog website, which I provide on the next slide. How to get started. I would recommend that the first place to start is at the recently launched CalCloud information website, listed here on the slide. This site is packed with useful information about the full CalCloud portfolio, including specifications, administration information, service request forms, downloads, and lots of other useful links. For convenience, I have also included the link to go directly to the service catalog. If you would like to discuss the potential ways you can use CalCloud in your organization, please contact your OTEC account representative. You can find out who that is at the third link listed here. I would also encourage you to attend an upcoming event. Check the CalCloud site regularly for more information. CalCloud is ready for your business. We look forward to hosting you soon. I will now turn it over to Lisa Mativi for questions and answers.
Hi, this is Lisa Mativi. I hope you all got a lot out of that presentation. It's really an exciting time for us, and so we're very happy to have you here today. I am kind of sorting through questions right now to see what order we should take them in to be most effective. I think what I'll do, we've got several questions. Before we get into them, I want to make a couple comments. We will be providing a recording of this presentation as well as the charts onto the CalCloud information website. And anybody that we don't get to your questions, we'll get your email out and we'll send you an answer via email. But I think we'll get to all of them. We've got plenty of time and about a half a dozen questions. So let's get started now. One of the first questions that came in was, what were some of the early adopter experiences? And I think I'll turn that over to Sean Ellis to answer, because Sean, I know you and Hans have described what you've done, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about what your experience was like, maybe lessons learned, your thoughts around that.
Sure. So my name is Sean Ellis, and I work for the Department of Food and Agriculture. As Hans mentioned during the presentation, we've been using this CalCloud environment since January, and one of our primary focuses was to really target the lowest hanging fruit first, so we didn't get ourselves in too deep in a situation that we couldn't easily back out of or get in over our heads. So we just started by finding the applications that had low traffic, minimal dependencies, their own domain. So we started with something called pearsonsdisease.org, and then over time we just gradually ramped it up to use more and more of our applications. Till now we have over 70 on there. And we're going to, as far as we know, we're going to keep pursuing that and probably eventually have everything running on CalCloud. So as far as our experiences as an early adopter, in some places, CalCloud is really rough around the edges and still is to this day, but the two things that really won us over, the first is that they're totally willing to work with you on anything you need on a personal basis, which is not something that you get from any other cloud providers. If you have a problem with Amazon AWS or something like that, it's not like you can call up Jeff Bezos and get some answers, you know. But with CalCloud, you really can work with the entire team. You can get the answers that you need to your questions. You can get feedback and suggestions on the proper way to implement things. And the other thing that really helped us too is that CalCloud is really doing a tremendous job of doing iterative improvement. So even though there were a lot of things that we weren't happy with at the beginning, and there still are some things that we wish would be better, it really is pretty obvious that it's continuously getting better over time. They're knocking out the issues one by one. They're improving the user interface. They're improving their offerings and their pricing. So overall, it's not everything we wanted, but we're really hopeful to the future about what it will be able to accomplish for us.
Okay, thanks, Sean. And that feeds right nicely into the second question we got. Who were some of the initial tenants, maybe some of the recent tenants? I mean, Carol, could you highlight some of them?
Sure, Lisa, I'd be happy to. Since the announcements in August, we've seen a dramatic uptick in the number of agencies coming on board and now running applications on CalCloud. Some examples besides Cdfa include CalSTRS, Fiscal, the Governor's Office, Caltrans, Secretary of State, Department of Motor Vehicles, Healthcare Human Services, and the Office of Systems Integration, and a number of others as well. So we're excited about all the new interest and all of the new tenants that are coming on board. Okay, thank you. I have a question here, more of a technical nature. The question is, for the unmanaged, no license offering, is it fair to describe it as a bare metal server offering? And sorry, I've got to open my window here. And the client provides the OS, hypervisor, and apps software via their current vendor licensing. So, Kyle, I think I'd ask you to answer that one, please.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. I think that's actually it's a great question. The first place I'll start is that I would not consider it bare metal. The client can bring in their own OS, but that's still really going to exist above the hypervisor, right? So the hypervisor would be key there. That would still most likely be provided. I mean, it's going to be provided by CalCloud. Now, I wouldn't want to necessarily, try to make any changes to that. So above the hypervisor, you can bring in your own software, up level, down level, what have you. But I would not think of it as bare metal. Okay.
And to the person who entered that question, of course, this is perhaps begs a bigger conversation, and I'd go back to Sean's comments to reach out to the CalCloud team, and we'll work with you on getting all the information you need, or as much information as you need around your applications and what you're trying to do. So let me go. I got another question here now. We may have answered this during the presentation, but Kyle, if you could, it says, the question is, what are the added security benefits? If you had to list top of mind, what are the top security benefits of CalCloud? What would those be?
So I would say that the workload-specific security around HIPAA, your PCI DSS, which is going to be, again, workload-specific. So you've got a whole bunch of workload-specific security, IRS 1075, SSA. But I think when you go down a level into the base security profile, I think that's where you're going to see a lot of the added benefits, right? So the fact that CalCloud was built to adhere to FedRAMP v2, and that includes the NIST 853 Rev 4. It's built to the IBM and California security controls, so that's the ISEC policy. So that's really the CalCloud information security controls. And then the fact that it's hosted inside the California Department of Technology's data centers and within those same firewalls as well. A few other of the big pieces of differentiation that I would bring forward is really around the fact that California data residency is guaranteed within CalCloud, right? So in order to get the uptime and availability, you don't have to worry about your servers being farmed out into other regions or building, sophisticated redundant strategies with your servers in order to get the level of uptime and availability that you require. And you can also always be assured that your applications are safe, secure within the state's data centers and firewalls and in the state of California. So those are probably the big ones, Lisa, that I would bring up and say that I think are hugely critical to what makes CalCloud different.
Okay, thank you. Another question, are there any stats on server retirements by Cdfa based on migration to CalCloud? Well, Sean, I'd have to turn that one to you, please.
Yeah, sure. So with over 70 applications of ours moved, we're probably sitting between 30 and 50% migrated on an application basis. As far as the number of servers that are retired, it's probably somewhat less, maybe around 10%. We've really only managed to decommission a few servers at this point. And the reason for that is that we can't really decommission a server until everything has been moved off of it. So some of our servers that have, 50 applications on it, that we've done the lowest hanging fruit and gotten, 40 of them off, but the last 10 are complex and have dependencies and stuff. We can't really shut down servers or retire them until we've got everything transitioned. So our server retire rate is somewhat lower at that point, but our pace of migration is increasing all the time. So it's only a matter of time. And I think in the end, we'll probably be looking at retiring at least 90% of our servers here. So.
Okay, that's very helpful. I appreciate that. I hadn't, everybody thinks about servers, but you have to keep them until you can get all of the applications moved over, so that's very helpful. But hopefully you're getting the benefit out of CalCloud and things will move quickly for you. Let's see, I was kind of stalling there for a minute to see if we got one last question, and I don't see one now, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up this webcast. I'd like to just take a minute and thank all of you again for taking the time to listen to the new announcements of CalCloud and the enhancements that are being made. As the leader for IBM in California, I can't tell you how happy and proud we are to be partnered with California on this really breakthrough initiative of CalCloud, really a first-of-a-kind thought leadership type of effort that the state is driving, and we're very, very proud to be partnered with them. As we said, we'll be posting the information on the CalCloud information website, and we will be getting out any questions that come in late to the emails. And if you need anything, just reach out to the CalCloud team, and we'll be sure to get somebody to answer your questions. So, again, thank you very much for your time today. Thanks for the opportunity to work with you, and I hope you all have a good rest of your afternoon. Thanks. Bye-bye.